Hi, everybody. Louise Eddington, Cosmic Owl Astrology, the Wisdom Weaver, and Cosmic Owl. And anyway, here I am with the week ahead forecast for April the 20th to the 27th. And before I just dive in, I would like to say that please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, check that little bell to get notified when I upload new content, and leave me a comment. And just check out my memberships. The $6.99 a month level is going to get a new name, Spiral Weave, the Spiral Weave, and it's going to get some new rewards. So check it out. But anyway, let's dive into the week ahead. And I'm feeling very starry today. I've got my stars on everywhere. So I pulled three cards for the week, and I've kind of woven them into the story of the week. So here's the Great Mother. Okay, these are the Red Threads Tarot. This is the Great Mother. You can see her. And then we have the Two of Discs, Balancing Act. Whoops, that's that way up. She's a balancing act. And here we have the Universe too. Alrighty. Okie dokie. Now then, let's dive into the week and share the chart and show you where we start. So here we start the week with the moon still in Capricorn, about to head towards the last quarter moon before we head towards the new moon that's coming up at the start of next week. And then we have Mars. Mars is now in the sign of Leo. So you can see Mars has moved back into Leo. And we have Haumea over here. So I want you to watch these aspects really closely. And I will obviously kind of point them out to you. But I do want you to know that we have some very kind of powerful aspects coming up. So in fact, I needed to add her aspect there. I've taken some of the extra energies off because I know some of you do not like them all, but if they get mentioned in the report I've written, I will add them back in. The other thing to note is that the nodes are now moving, gaining speed. The nodes' main primary motion is reverse through the signs, and I used the true calculation of the nodes. So they were sat at 27 degrees right through the Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and eclipse season, because eclipses are conjunct the nodes. Now they're on the move. Everything's on the move now. Venus has moved about a whole degree from her station direct point, still moving slowly, of course. But one overall thing that you may notice is that all the planets are direct for a short while. Pluto will be stationing early in May to station retrograde, and the outer planets then will station one by one throughout the summer. But for a brief moment in time, all the planets are moving direct. So there is a lot of forward movement. Uranus is moving fast. Jupiter is moving fast now. As I said, though, Venus is not gained speed yet. Mercury is also moving slowly at the start of the week. So yes, there is forward motion, but some of it's still a little bit like wading. But this week, we're in the hands of the Great Mother. Okay, and not the soft focus version either, but the one who sees everything and holds the ache of the world in one hand, and you're becoming in the other. You're becoming who you're becoming. So she doesn't flinch, she doesn't sugarcoat, but she does hold steady when we wobble. So this is a week of sacred recalibration where we shift from survival to alignment, from pressure to presence. And like the Two of Discs, we're not balancing for show, we're balancing to live. By week's end, we'll arrive at the universe, full circle, a spiral returned, not to where we started, but to who we actually are becoming now. But on Sunday, the April the 20th, we get what I'm going to call a fixed Grand Cross initiation. So today opens the week with a pressure cooker, not the digital kind. We're talking stone ground, spirit ringing, cellular recalibration pressure. There's tension brewing in the morning as the moon squares Chiron, and by mid-morning squaring Eris. But then, so old wounds may feel sharp, especially the ones about not being heard, not being safe, not being seen as whole. And you may feel the ache of all those not enoughs. Let yourself feel them, but then move. The last quarter moon in Capricorn already brings a tone of letting go, but not in a gentle float away kind of way. This is earthy release. Okay, so let's get us to that last quarter moon so you can see. So there we have it in the evening. You can see that the moon has moved into Aquarius. Look at this. Okay, so this is the kind of release that requires muscle, choice, and the courage to cut the old away. Layered on top of this, the Sun in Taurus squares Mars in Leo. Two fixed signs in a standoff, but now we have all four. So we have steady Earth meeting fiery will with the Sun and Mars, and neither wants to yield. And now add the moon in the moon in Aquarius, and Haumea in Scorpio into the mix, and we've got a fixed Grand Cross. This is tectonic. Okay, you may feel frustrated that something has to change, but unclear on how. Caught between survival strategies and creative urges. You may feel like your willpower is clashing with your energy levels, or you may feel like your emotional body is holding tension you just cannot name yet. I have to say that fixed signs really find this Grand Cross or Grand Square more tougher than cardinal or mutable signs, because fixed signs tend to be a little bit immovable. So this all in total really is bringing slow burn conflict, both internal and relational. And it's a composting moment, and it's also burst through breakdown, I'm going to say, especially because the moon is near Pluto as well. So this is really quite tense, really. Okay. So, but there's beauty in this struggle. This isn't collapse, it's containment pressure, not to break you, but to birth something more solid, sustainable, and sovereign. So if it feels tight today, if you're grinding your teeth or muttering, not this again, pause, breathe, let your body tell you what needs release. You're not stuck, you're in the sacred pause before emergence, and you're being invited to stop pushing and start aligning. Let the Great Mother hold what you can't yet transform. She knows this spiral better than any of us. So this is the Great Mother's moment, the part where she says, cry if you need to, I can take it, but don't confuse heartbreak with failure. Let this be a day of sacred permission. So then on to early the next day. Hang on, let me get something moving for you. So very early on the next day, moon conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Today may feel like not much is happening on the surface, but just beneath something's stirring, because we're still under this fixed Grand Cross, you can see. The moon makes this conjunction to Aquarius, and this one is starting to activate the growing Mars-Pluto opposition. I did a whole video on that. So this sets a tone of emotional undercurrent in mental airspace. You might feel distant, detached, fine, but off. That's Moon Pluto in Aquarius. This isn't emotional outburst. This is emotional containment with a hint of internal revolution. Now, you may find yourself spiraling into a fixed thought. You may suddenly realize you're replaying a story that no longer serves you, or you might stumble onto a power dynamic, not with shouting, but with silence. This is a powerful day to observe your thought patterns, notice where you're over rationalizing pain, reflect on collective trauma and how it's showing up in your nervous system. You might be more sensitive on this day, on Monday, to group spaces, media, or tech, to the energy in them. Pluto in Aquarius says the system is emotional even when it pretends it's not. So let this be a day of emotional intel gathering. Ask yourself, what am I afraid to feel? Because I'm afraid it will change me. The Great Mother holds this too, even in the digital void, even in your perfectly curated emotional shell. Let yourself feel weird. There's wisdom in that. So, fixed fire, fixed earth, fixed pressure. Nothing stays the same when the mother's midwifing your truth. All right, on to Tuesday. So you can see Tuesday, the moon is still in Aquarius, but today is Earth Day. So happy birthday to the Earth. And I love that the moon's in Aquarius on this Earth Day as well. But the sun is in Taurus, of course, the most earthly of signs. So I'm calling this day Earth Day and Sacred Redirection. So today pulses with both pressure and promise. We're still riding these waves of this fixed Grand Cross, but something important shifts here. Something karmic, something collective, something ripe. The moon continues through Aquarius, and in the early afternoon she will square Uranus over here. Whoops. Okay. The Skywaker. That's our spark, the shake-up, as the system override. But the deeper note, the part that hums beneath these headlines, is look at this. Saturn conjuncts the North Node in Pisces. This is not a soft realignment. It's a calling, a reckoning, a realignment of your spiritual GPS. Saturn says, build something real. The North Node says, this way. Together in Pisces, they speak to destiny-based responsibility, spiritual maturity, surrender as structure, a karmic reminder that what you commit to now has ripple effects far beyond the personal. This is Earth Day, and the Saturn node moment says the Earth is your elder, the future is your responsibility, the system won't save you, but your soul might. So what can you do with this? Speak the truth that's hard but holy. Start something tiny that honors the future. Let go of one habit that ties you to the past you're done with. You are being called to take your sacred work seriously without the old perfectionism. And the moon square Uranus will make sure you feel the shift. Don't ignore the download. Don't assume the window will stay open. This is a day to plant what lasts. What you commit to today shapes who you become tomorrow. So this is Saturn to the North Node whispering through Pisces waters, saying that what you commit to today shapes who you become tomorrow. So on to Wednesday, the 23rd. So this is cracking the shell. This is not a quiet midweek check-in. This is the turning point. Early in the day, the moon enters the sign of Pisces. So here you go, you can see that. Shifting the emotional weather from mental detachment into full body feeling, but don't confuse this for softness. This isn't dreamy Pisces. This is initiated Pisces, especially after all that we've had going on. Because while the moon wades into mystic waters, the sky is kind of on fire beneath that surface. Mars, the exact aspects are that Mars squares Haumea, the goddess of creation, birth, rebirth, generation, and the Sun squares Pluto, pressure, power, shadow, evolution. And just like that, the fixed grand cross kind of finishes, but of course it will ripple out. Okay. The spiral is kind of cracked open. This is not the moment. This is the moment, sorry, when the pressure has built so long it has no choice but to break form, not to destroy you, but to rebirth you. So if Sunday, when this Grand Cross really began, was the cosmic contraction, today is the push. You may feel sudden clarity around power dynamics, or purpose, a deep urge to act but not to know how, the surfacing of an old identity that no longer fits, resistance from systems, people, or even your own inner control mechanisms. So the Sun in Taurus facing off by square with Pluto in Aquarius is the ultimate inner tension. I want to feel safe, but also I want to grow. And then Mars in Leo square Haumea, that's creative fire, meeting, creation, labor, the holy rage, the sacred strike, the roar in the womb of the world. Today is a portal and it might feel like a fight, but really it's a rebirth. What have you outgrown? What are you ready to step into, even if it's still undefined? The Pisces moon will help you feel it, but these squares really, they demand that you respond. So move, not chaotically, but with fierce grace. Let this day break something loose inside of you that was never meant to stay small. And just remember as well that, we're entering the dark in the moon, so dark of the moon, so you're already seeding something here. So Thursday, April the 24th, I'm calling this day Devotion, Destiny, and the Sacred Thread. If you are looking for a cosmic reset, this is the day. The moon is now really kind of heading towards this new moon. But this is not the kind of reset with fireworks, the kind where something clicks softly into place deep inside your bones. The moon in Pisces makes an oracular pilgrimage today, touching near almost every major player in the sky's softest, most soul-stretching sign. The moon squares Jupiter in Gemini, asking, are you expanding out of alignment or into it? She conjuncts Nessus, stirring up Anne's Nessus isn't on here. Maybe I should add it. Okay, Centaur Nessus, because it's important. Nessus is part of this major Pisces journey. There we go. So the moon meets Nessus, stirring up ancestral stories around violation, trust, and redemption. And then comes Ceres, the nurturer, saying it's okay to grieve what didn't feed you. And then the braid tightens. Venus conjuncts the North Node and then moves into conjunction with Saturn. This is big. This is binding. This is choosing beauty that endures and not just what glitters. Venus in Pisces says, I will love what calls my soul forward, even if it scares me. Saturn replies, then prove it. Stay with it, build it. So this isn't about romantic love. This is about devotion to your past, to your values, to the soul agreements your heart already knows are sacred. Ask yourself, what am I being called to commit to more deeply? What beauty do I want to be responsible for? Where does love become legacy? This is also a potent day for ancestral work, creative prayer, writing vows, especially to yourself, because the North Node says this way forward, Saturn says if you mean it, build it, and Venus whispers, let's be beautiful. And the moon joins all of these. So today, don't just dream it, choose it. Don't just want it, devote to it, and let the moon carry your prayer through the tides. The Great Mother doesn't just hold you, she teaches you how to hold yourself. And that's what Venus and Saturn ask today. Big day. All right. Now on to Friday the 25th. This is the spark after the spell. You can see that we start very early in the day with the moon still swimming in Pisces, but then the moon moves into Neptune, is in Aries as the moon moves into Aries. So this is dissolving dreams, shedding the last layers of illusion. There's a tenderness to this morning, though. It's kind of a fog with the veil lifting, it's kind of like, oof, I start to see clearly now. Um, so after the moon enters Aries and meets Neptune, we get emotion meeting ignition, the dream becoming a spark, and the mist clearing and says, all right, now go. On the new moon, at least. This isn't fiery rage, though. This is soul-powered momentum, because when the moon meets Mercury as well, okay, we have we get some clarity. Mercury is just, well, in fact, let me show you where they meet. Okay, the moon meets Mercury at the degree Mercury stationed retrograde at. So Mercury is going to start treading new ground. We have the moon and Mercury in mind and emotions, if you like, getting some clarity about the direction, and it's in the dark of the moon. So this is saying, okay, I'm starting to see clearly where I'm going. It's kind of saying I've gathered the insight and I've met with the archetypes, and now I'm ready to move. And so the moon will also, of course, before that, trine Mars in Leo, so gathering more fire and more kind of energy, bringing the heart into it too. So this is a beautiful day to start speaking your truth and begin something you've been simmering on. Take action that's fueled by feeling, not reaction. Move your body in alignment with your soul's yes. So the moon Mars trine gives you confidence. The moon Mercury conjunction gives you clarity. And the Neptune brush gives you inspiration. Let it be inspired. So this is an integration day. The big decisions of the week don't just sit, they start to move. So light the match, not to burn it all down, but to begin lighting your way. And this is where the Two of Discs finds motion, not frantic juggling, but soul aligned flow. All right, and now on the last day, we have the break point. So this is the day the sky tightens. Before the Mars-Pluto opposition strikes, which is actually which is later today, the moon, our emotional compass, moves through Aries and lights up Chiron and Eris. This is the personal layer of the collective intensity. The moon conjunct Chiron says, this still hurts. You've come far, but here's the wound, asking to be witnessed again. And then the moon conjunct Eris says, okay, now what are you going to do about it? So you might wake up a little bit afraid, a little bit fired up. Old triggers may resurface, not to shame you, but to show where you're not powerless. And then as the day builds, so does the voltage. We have this Mars-Pluto opposition at 3 Leo Aquarius. I did a whole video on that. This is the final hit of a longer arc that started in November 24 and revisited in January. If this were a three-part miss, today is the climax. This is ego versus the system, creative will versus collective control, personal fire versus technological machinery, the courage to act versus the fear of what might happen if you do. You may feel an intense urge to assert, to fight, to reclaim your space. You may also feel like the very systems around you are trying to hold you in place. This is where old trauma responses can resurface. So can old power dynamics in relationships, communities, or inside yourself. But here's the deeper ask. Can you wield power without becoming what you are trying to survive? This is not a day to push blindly, it's a day to move forward with sacred clarity. If you're holding fire, ask it what it wants to create, not just destroy. Questions to walk with. Where am I ready to reclaim my voice, my direction, my will? What must I release in order to act with integrity? Who am I when I no longer fear my own power? This really is a soul forging day, right? You're not being punished, you're being initiated. So let this day crack open the shell that's been too small for who you've become. Let the fire burn away the fear. You are never meant to stay in the cage, you're here to rise. This is your universe moment, not completion as an ending, but as a return. You are stepping back into your orbit, but as someone wiser, freer, and forged in fire. So, in closing, this week really is not just a story, it's a rite, a passage through tension, tenderness, truth. You are not who you were started the week with. You've been stretched, cracked open, breathed into by ancestors, by the earth, by your own courage. The Great Mother has held you, the Two of Discs has taught you to balance what matters, and the universe has welcomed you home. So rest where you can, rise where you must, and remember, you are not, I'm going to stop the share, you are not the chaos, you are the thread. So keep weaving. So I'm going to show you these again from the Red Threads Tarot. The Great Mother, Two of Discs, and the Universe. Much love to you. I will see you next time.